A lot of you who use English in your work to communicate with international colleagues use email as one of your primary mode of communication. So in this video, I want to share with you some ways that you can be a strong communicator in written form, especially in emails. I'm going to share with you some mistakes that I've seen with some of my clients recently and ways that you can be polite, but also have some influence and authority in the way you communicate. So, welcome back if you are returning to the English for Change channel. If this is the first time you clicked on one of my videos, hello, my name is Ruth. I am an English language teacher from Ireland, but based in Belgium and moving soon to France. And I am all about helping you build a confident voice in English so you can make positive change in your life with better English. And I particularly help legal professionals and other business professionals to make a real impact in your work with better English. So if you want to see future videos from me, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to say about emails and sending emails, we should really consider when we are sending an email if it is the best way of communication. Because sending emails is a bit limited. It's definitely in our zone of comfort for many of us. We don't actually need to be vulnerable and speak with other people in English. We can take our time writing an email. So I think it's a good idea, before I give you some recommendations of how to improve your email writing skills, that you should really consider when is the best time to send an email and when is the best time to actually pick up the phone. And that is usually down to when we need to really say something very important, we need to negotiate. It's much better to do that on the phone or even face to face because we could see and hear the other person. We can adjust our communication style depending on that person. And it can be just very hard in an email. It's very hard to take back what we say. It can often lead to miscommunication and even damaging relationships. So that is the first thing I wanted to say before getting into some examples. So in an English class with me recently, one of my students used the phrase, "Do you think it would be possible to take the afternoon off tomorrow?" And I corrected her and said that this is not great in an email because it really shows that you have a junior position and it doesn't show much confidence and authority. So there are actually two indirect phrases here. Do you think? And would it be possible? So we don't need both. We could just simply say, would it be possible to take the afternoon off? I think the reason she used it is because she probably heard it from native English speakers using that in a spoken way. Because as you probably know, particularly British and Irish people use very indirect language, and it's seen as polite to use indirect language. And I think that is very common in spoken. And when you speak and you say, "Do you think it would be possible to take the afternoon off?" I think it's more acceptable and it doesn't seem as weak as when you use it in an email. Because, email, we really need to choose our words carefully because we can cause misunderstanding. And so, choosing our words carefully and making sure that we sound confident enough. I think, therefore, it's important to just be concise and not use two indirect phrases together like that, but just say directly, would it be possible to take the afternoon off? Another thing connected to that is the word sorry. And I'm sure if you live in an English speaking country or you've had some contact with English speaking colleagues, especially again, British and Irish, we tend to overuse the word sorry. We use it in every context when we mean to say, excuse me, we say sorry. When we bump into someone on the street, it seems like we're apologizing for ourselves all the time. And I read recently that sorry is just a very powerful word and we need to use it sparingly. It shows a lot of deference and, deference is not like respect, but even more than respect, that you are more inferior. It shows a lot of deference to others and it can reduce your status. And interestingly enough, and I'm not very surprised about this, women use the word sorry more than men. So I think it's really important that we choose our words carefully, especially in an email, so that we can sound confident that we have some authority, even if we are in a more junior position. And a good way to replace sorry is to say thank you. So instead of saying sorry for my late reply, you could say thank you for your patience. Instead of saying sorry to bother you, you could say, I really appreciate your time in answering this question. You could also sign off and saying thank you in advance. I personally like that one, showing your appreciation at the end with thank you in advance is a really nice way instead of overusing the word sorry in your emails. Another example of a client recently, he was going to be presenting in a conference and he was going to use the phrase, "This may expand your view on racism." And I told him not to use this may because it's very uncertain. And there are two better ways that you could say this. So you could either say, "I hope this will expand your view on the idea of racism," or "I think this will expand your view on the idea of racism." So I hope is medium direct, and I think this will, it's a bit more direct, it's a bit more sure. But I think these subtle differences, especially in written form, are really important because people will take note more. You're going to have more of an impact. You're going to have more of an effect on people with this choice of words. One final thing I wanted to talk about is using old-fashioned language that you probably learned in a textbook or you've learned in school when you were learning English. Now, this is something that maybe some people might disagree with me on, but I don't really like using the adverb kindly. For example, can I kindly ask that you arrive on time to the meeting? So I would say it's okay, but kindly, I don't know. For me, it's a bit old fashioned. And also, this sentence, can I kindly ask that you arrive? It could be a bit passive aggressive and not so friendly. I think it's better, especially for a formal type of email like this, to just use please. So, for example, please ensure that you arrive on time to this event. Again, it takes out the I, takes out it being too personal. So, I think many times we can say please and thank you for these things, like thank you for your patience, for replacing sorry, and please, can you arrive on time to this event? Instead of can I kindly ask you? Because it's putting in I, it's putting in you, and it's making it quite personal. I would eliminate kindly altogether. I don't really use or I don't really like kindly. I think it's a bit old fashioned and doesn't really give the best impression. Another similar one is may I request? Again, it's just too formal, a bit old fashioned, and I would keep it at could I request or please can you? Those will be the phrases I will prefer over can I kindly ask you or may I request. So that is all for this video. So I've given you two different examples that I've seen lately with clients and the importance of choosing your words very carefully when you're writing an email because every word counts and we're relying on one type of communication, which is the words. So the words count 100%. So we really want to be giving the best impression to our clients, to our colleagues. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and maybe share it with a friend or colleague who would benefit from this video. So thank you very much for watching and I will talk to you in the next one.